The city of Long Beach has a great system in place for the after hours for protection of the beach. We have an alert system that the fire department can send out. It's almost the immediate alert to myself, the volunteers, the lifeguards, notifying them of a potential drowning. We also do patrol the beaches, and on this particular night, a call came in for a person in the water in distress, and it turned out to be an attempted suicide. Firefighter Fitz Martin, along with police officer Corbett, police officer Primrose, went into the water, was able to grab the subject and extricate them from the water at great risk to himself. So the city council is desirous of recognizing that attention and has proclamation for it. Unfortunately, Officer Corbett Primrose aren't able to make it, but firefighter Fitz Martin is still here.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted a couple Fridays ago, while many of us, as the Commissioner said, were enjoying a beautiful afternoon. The city of Long Beach Life is being safe thanks to one of our volunteer firefighters. Into the quick response, the firefighter Justin Fitzmartin, together with police officer Corbett and Primrose, we were able to actually save this precious life and get the individual the help that he needed. So I want to invite our chief sub as well as firefighter Fitzmartin to present him with this testimony. I just want to point out that firefighter Fitzmartin has the best quote I think ever in the Herald about a hero sandwich that I think all of us will remember. I just want to read where the city of Long Beach wishes to recognize those individuals and organizations that have contributed positively to the people and community at large. And whereas the city of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge volunteer firefighter and EMT Justin Fitzmartin in recognition of his actions at 10 Seattle Beach on the afternoon of Friday, September 21st, 2018, in which firefighter Ms. Fitzmartin, police officer Michael Porter, and police officer Patrick Primrose were able to safely rescue and revive an unresponsive man floating in the water and transport him to South Napa Community Hospital, Long Beach Emergency Department in critical condition. Therefore, the city council and the city manager, in recognition of his exemplary service to the community, proudly present this proclamation to Justin Fitzmartin, and it's signed by Council President Aramo, myself, Councilmember Bendo, Councilmember Mandel, Councilwoman Moore, and the city manager, Matthew Taffy.
Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the council of the city of Long Beach on Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018, 7 p.m. We have a roll call. Councilmember Bendo. Councilmember Mandel. Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Vice President Dyer.
Here.
President Ramos.
Here.
Secretary indicate the presence of acting city manager Michael Taffy, and corporation council Robert Emerson. Now, see you
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Once again, I'd just like to thank everyone for being here and for our rather short agenda this evening, but we'll start with the city manager report.
Yes, the Army Corps of Engineers has completed beach renourishment and pile driving for the dune homes within the city limits. Completing renourishment in Middle Beach is going to happen in the coming months. The Corps will return to build up the dunes before the dune local decks can be installed. The timetable for the Army Corps return to Long Beach is determined. Please check www.longbeachny.gov for updates. The AOH 29th Annual Irish Day Parade Festival is this Saturday, October 6th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., rain or shine. The parade steps along Washington Boulevard and West Park area at 11 a.m. and proceeds to West Beach Street in the West End. There will be no parking on West Beach Street, between New York Avenue and Connecticut Avenue, from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. on Saturday. West Beach Street will be closed to traffic at 9 a.m. The festival will end at 5 p.m. and the West Beach Street will be cleared by 6 p.m. The West End bus route will run on West Park Avenue during the festival. Fall Festival will be held at Kennedy Plaza Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be crafts, vendors, the following Friday and Saturday. A carousel, pumpkin patch, petting zoo, music, hay rides, and more. The costume parade begins at the Red Field at 12 noon. There is still time to submit pictures for the 2019 city calendar. We are looking for pictures that depict moments in an unusual way, especially for the winter months, holidays, and Long Beach events. If you have a photo which you would like to have considered for inclusion in the 2019 calendar, please send any horizontal high-resolution pictures to Long Beach events at longbeachny.gov.
All right.
Okay, on to the calendar. And what is the resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for alarm administration services?
Yes, we started alarm registration services in 2011 when we had 1,140 false alarms. The program is designed to get people that have faulty alarms, to get them repaired properly so that police officers aren't racing to these houses, exposing themselves to both the dangers of responding to an alarm and the possible complacency of having so many false alarms. In 2017, we went from 1,140 to 617. And so far, year to date in 2018, we have 471. The fees are all remaining the same as they have since 2011. If you register your alarm, the first two false alarms get only a warning, and then penalties start to kick in. We have also an appeal process that most municipalities don't have to try to make it as fair as possible. This has been a very, very successful program in the city.
Okay, any questions from the council? Any comments or questions from the public? Okay, seeing no hands, next item.
Okay, item 2 is a resolution authorizing publication of a notice of public hearing of an application waiving Wall Street parking requirements for premise 167A East Parking Avenue, Street 4, for hair salon. This item is publication only and will be held October 16th at 7 p.m. On to the voting. Okay, so item 1 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for alarm administration services. Would you just move the adoption of this item? Second? Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Dyer.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing publication of a notice of public hearing of an application waiver Wall Street parking requirements for premise 167A East Park Avenue, Street 4, for the hair salon. Would you just move the adoption of this item? Second? Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Dyer.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes.
City manager, multi-personnel report is filed by the city clerk. Will make a motion to close the meeting. Second? Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Morrell.
Yes. All right, we move on to our welfare section of the meeting. Everyone receives 3 minutes of uninterrupted time. As we always ask, we ask everyone to be respectful and maintain the quorum. Kathleen O'Leary. Good evening.
Kathleen O'Leary, Long Beach. I want to speak again about the mortgage default registry. Specifically, I would like to speak about to the Corporation Council. I sent this article around to selected members, including Commissioner Cagney and Mr. I'm sorry, okay, the Corporate Council. And basically what's happening in Jersey is the county, Gloucester County has 18 towns which use this default registry, okay, for mortgages. And right now, 4 towns are being sued in addition to the vendor that runs the registry. So I guess my question to corporate council is, why are you letting Long Beach be exposed to litigation? We already know this is going on 1 state over. So it's actually investors that purchase tax liens that are foreclosing, have already foreclosed and sold on homes. And they're suing. One of them says he doesn't want to pay the $2 grand that this company and the towns assigned for the mortgage in default. So we're leaving ourselves open. Long Beach is being left open to get sued and by multiple people. You know, we're getting, these are, you know, tax lien people. You could have homeowners suing you, you could have banks suing you, and so forth. And again, like we established last session, there's less than 5 zombie houses with people living in them. It's basically a money grab to get revenue from people who are losing their jobs, missing one mortgage payment, and then going into default the way the banks run it now. So to me, that's a money grab. But my question is straight to the corporate council.
And Ms. O'Leary, we did research that thoroughly before the item was introduced onto the agenda, and what we found is it presented an acceptable level of risk. Mainly because the challenge in that case is based on New Jersey state law. So at this point, we're not concerned that something changes. We will have the ability to amend and adopt the law as needed.
But what is it particular to New Jersey state law that's different from us?
There's something in that state law, vis-a-vis tax liens, whereby basically they're saying that the state law does not permit this extra fee to be tacked on, but it's unique to New Jersey state law. And Brandon, I also, it's just an allegation. It hasn't been substantiated as of yet. It's only an allegation.
Well, there's 4 towns in court right now. That's not just an allegation.
Well, no, that's exactly what it is. That's what a lawsuit is. It's a series of allegations.
All right, it's semantics, okay, but they're serious. It's not a trivial, what they call it, trivial lawsuit. There's 4 out of 18 towns that are getting sued. Okay.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to suggest, I know Senator Ford brought up using the New York State registry. I believe that New York State would have the legal authority to impose fees as opposed to a private company. And basically, I think it's like an IT thing. You just need to hook into the New York State database, see who they find, what's it called, zombie home, and hook in by them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Leary. John Dean? Good evening.
Good evening. Levine, Arizona Avenue, Long Beach. I want to first recognize and thank Dennis Moore for taking the time to come out and actually experience and see what was going on with the traffic. And thank you. Smaller note, Mr. Bendo indicated to me, walking out last meeting, that he experienced trouble making left-hand turns from Park Avenue onto his street. And I said, well, thank you. And he says, it's not hard to understand that if you're having trouble turning a car, there's also difficulty in people walking across, as well as people making turns from the side streets of their driveways onto that street. Now, just to clarify what I'm asking is to have stop signs be put on the two-way streets. One is east and west direction, to have crosswalk indications marked on the streets, which we have elsewhere in some streets, to have the restricted parking signs on the road under 5 feet removed and put up yield pedestrian signs. And basically that's it. However, I will say that I did get a call, which I'm not sure who it came from, to tell me that they gave me a number to call. They didn't say what was my phone to call, but I called that number. Turned out to be somebody named Ryan, which I now learned is Lieutenant Ryan traffic division. I called that number, I didn't get a response. I left a voicemail, never got a call back. Last Wednesday, I decided to come in, because I wasn't sure at that time, didn't know who that was. To come into the manager's office to try to clarify what was trying to be there. I was stopped by the guard who called up. The officer said, no, just go to the traffic. And I said, unfortunately, every time we go to the traffic division, they said they can't do anything except through the manager's division. So the traffic division sent it to the manager's office. The manager's office sent it to the traffic division. And I said, basically, it's just sending me to be a yo-yo. I said, but since you've asked me, I'll call. I went to the traffic division. They told me that Mr. Ryan was not available. I said, well, when is he available? We don't know. I said, does he have a phone? Does he have a text? Scheduling? No. Eventually, one of the two ladies walked to the back and was talking to somebody, I don't know who it was. And then this other person came out, I don't actually know his name. I'll say this, a very aggressive manner, told me that they were not going to call and not going to text. And I just have to look. I said, well, I'm a customer. This was to provide service to me. I was informed by that person that I'm not a customer, that I'm just a resident. Sorry to say I'm just a resident. I just would like to have a good service. I left the traffic division.
Your time's expired. Can you wrap up the sentence, please?
What?
Your time is expired.
Yeah, no, let me say 1 second. I'm going to finish it out. I came back up to the manager's office. I explained my case again. They said, give me your phone number. I said, every time I call, I look at the call. This young man came out, said that he studied wholly at accidents in Long Beach, and that there were more important intersections than my intersection. Let me tell you something. I'm very insulted. I'm requesting safety for the residents in the West End. I'm requesting parity for a residential area to the rest of Long Beach where there is traffic control. Thank you.
I'll just ask Commissioner Abbey to respond to traffic concerns on Park Avenue throughout the West End.
Well, according to the manual uniform control devices, it's improper to make stop signs with traffic lights. You either have one or the other. And that street is controlled by traffic lights. The volume of traffic is too great that stop sign on every two-way street, which is approximately every 200 feet. So traffic would grind to a standstill. It's then I'm surprised you had trouble making time to your street because that street's covered by a traffic light. So if there was somebody that was trying to cross, like when we were kids, cross the green out in between. But I will get a hold of Lieutenant Ryan and have his team contact you.
Are there any other options? Because I had the opportunity to visit the area, and there were many children who were coming on school buses, and they were waiting, trying to figure out when they would have the opportunity to cross the street. There were also a lot of teenagers who were on bikes, and they were struggling in terms of trying to get across the street. And I also obviously saw a lot of people who were in their cars who were struggling to make that left turn. There were a lot of cars that were speeding, coming up and down West Park Avenue.
It is a problem because you're going to be taking 6 lanes of traffic and reducing it to 4, once you cross New York Avenue. So that is a challenge to handle that amount of traffic with just 2 westbound and 2 eastbound lanes. But I'll have Lieutenant Ryan and maybe Commissioner Miranda, who is an engineer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tina Fiore?
Good evening, from Long Beach, New York. I'm going to just read a statement. The frustration of Long Beach residents towards the city leadership is at an all-time high. The corruption, good old boys network, side deals, act now, ask for permission later culture must end, and end immediately. The question all Long Beach residents must ask themselves unemotionally and with great thought: is our beloved city by the sea well run and managed by those elected to serve the residents, taxpayers, and merchants? The clear and ever-growing response is a resounding no. The administration has lost the confidence of the people who voted them into office. These leaders were given an incredible opportunity to effectively affect positive change in the lives of those that care most deeply for the short and long-term well-being of our city. Every action by the most recent and current administration elicits self-gratification, self-interest, and favors for those who offer reciprocal benefits. I ask my fellow residents and taxpayers and merchants, is this administration to be trusted? Are they holding up their end of the trust? Are they being held accountable for their choices, decisions, and actions? And in some cases, inaction. I can spend hours outlining examples of greed, corruption, lies, backroom deals, and overall failure to live up to the values we expect from those managing our city. More often than not, lack of process morphs into lack of integrity in the decisions made by our leaders. These are just a few examples. No city manager or controller, separation payments, bad backroom or development deals, no accountability or supervision, lack of transparency, and a big fail of communication overall. When will the madness end? We, the taxpayers, residents, and merchants deserve more than what is currently happening within the confines of City Hall. There are 2 issues that must be addressed today, not tomorrow, not next week or next month, but today. The first is to clean up the mess left behind by former city manager Jack Shearman. We must have an answer to the questions regarding all those separation payments and overall fiscal integrity. Second needs to be transparency of the process, sense of urgency to fill a vacant city manager and controller positions. We need a person we can trust, who can straighten out the ills of the past, one who can undertake a complete overhaul of City Hall, and one who is not beholden to anyone or any party. Long Beach is a special place. The city manager's position is one to be desired and led with passion by the next person. Let's make sure we are doing everything possible to attract highly qualified candidates who want to be here, who believe in the values of the residents he or she serves, and a leader who is tough enough to stand up for what is right, regardless of politics. If Indeed.com is not getting the hiring process for city manager moving, then someone needs to take charge and find other methods. Put together a search committee. Reach out to the ICMA. They have access to city managers across the country. Hire a headhunter who saved enough city managers' salary for almost the last 10, 11 months to cover that cost. The answer is not what we have in-house or what we've had in years. The answer lies in someone who's not connected. I just have 2 lines left. But wants to connect with the residents, a person with proper credentials and qualifications and experience. Someone who has or wants to put roots here, not those who want to use the city as a stepping stone for their careers. There is no place for politics, or parties, or their leaders in this process, and time to clean up this mess and get this busy righting this sinking ship. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, that's Spiro. What's your name? Liz? Liz Dondi? Welcome.
Sterling, and I live at 175 West Broadway. It is a senior building, and good evening to you all. We are recently been told that we are going through what they call a RAD conversion. Are you familiar with RAD? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with housing.
I know you don't, but I'm asking, are you really familiar with it?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't need me to explain to you what RAD conversion is? You know what it is?
Yes.
Okay, all right, then I'm gonna ask you a question. All right, you don't have anything to do with housing, I know. But as elected officials, you have to have some concerns about it. Because as seniors, we voted you in. And you must care about us. And that is a question. Am I correct?
I'm not an elected official, number one. Number two, I do care about all residents.
About the seniors? Am I
All
correct?
residents.
All right, and if they do go ahead with the conversion, which is not bad if it's done correctly, but it's being rushed into it. And if it's rushed into it, and if it's done incorrectly, we are stuck with something that may displace seniors that have lived in Long Beach for their entire lives. And is that fair? I don't think it is. And you have an opportunity now because you're electing a new city manager. And you do have something to do with the seniors because the city manager is the one that appoints the board. And the city manager will be able to appoint a board that doesn't have any kind of agenda but to care about what happens to the senior citizens and be able to appoint a person that goes on the board because the board is going, there are a number of seats that are going to be up soon. And they can appoint a person that has nothing else on their agenda but to be sure that the people now that live in housing will be protected under the new conversion to the RAD system if they go ahead with it. I know they have to do something because the new Trump administration is cutting back on the money they get and they give to HUD. I know that. But it has to be done correctly. And you have an opportunity to help us. And I think it's your responsibility as the board and as the people who, your politicians, you can't just forget us.
So I think the council can have a conversation about what's happening. I don't know if we're all fully clear about what a RAC conversion is. But obviously we want to advocate any way we can to protect the seniors and protect those that are already living in the housing. Did you have something?
Also,
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo, what President Arundel said. I think that we all feel strongly about, I agree with anyone on the council who would want to take whatever steps are necessary. I, for one, don't have a background in what this RAC conversion is. I don't know if all the other members of the council do, but I'm just gonna ask that we get some sort of, analysis over the next couple of days so that we can be prepared to respond appropriately to you. But I don't think there's any question from any members of this council that protecting housing and senior housing is something that's a priority. I think we've taken steps as a council in order to ensure that that happens, whether it's just voting for the continuation of programs or ensuring that projects continue for our seniors. So I think that that's clear, and whatever steps are necessary that we can take to ensure that housing is protected. I think that, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I think that we would all take those steps to ensure that that is taken care of.
Yeah, I just want to echo Councilwoman Donovan's statement and just say that in times past, the Long Beach Housing Authority did provide a report to members of the council. We did this when President Torres was leading us. And so I'm going to request that, in working with President Aramo, that we could request to just have a meeting with the Long Beach Housing Authority to the board so that we'll all have the same information.
That would be great.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of seniors there, and a lot of them wanted to come up and talk, but we don't want to inundate with you because we know your powers are limited. But we really wanted to.
We can still advocate it. Thank you.
With that, Council President Armand, members of the council and the audience, please forgive me, I have a family commitment. I believe I will be watching the commentary tonight on the stream, and I'll be calling the council there.
Thank you, Councilman Mandel. Dennis Fiore? Like to speak.
Good evening, thank you all for being here and listening, because I know you are directly involved with that. And I'm pretty sure that you ever think in terms of senior housing, because you're young and vital, and if you're not very young, you're vital, you wouldn't be doing what you do. And I want to thank you all for that. And this is not a request for what have you done or not done question. This is a plea because it is urgent, and we all love Long Beach. I have lived here 51 years, raised a child here, have a local house here. Never expected to find myself in seeking housing, but there I am. And there anybody could be, in the same way that anybody who never thought they would end up in a hospital bed for the chronic illness suddenly is. Things happen, life happens. And what I am asked is not to develop an interest in something you don't have to be involved in, but to keep in mind that those of us who love Long Beach, who took a really concerned interest in who we vote, and a great many of us, all of you sit where you're sitting, because we don't throw flyers away, we read, we research, we're interested in the people that sit there. And we make pretty good decisions a lot of the time. And so what I'm asking as a plea, because this is urgent, this is not some petty little thing. They wouldn't have called us up here to the 6th floor, this is petty. You don't have to be directly involved. Long Beach is directly involved, and you represent Long Beach in the best possible way. We're hoping. We helped you. We're asking you for your help in this way. If you are smart enough to do what you do, and obviously you are, you can detect slime. And if you notice anything going on that doesn't hit you right, I am counting on each and every one of you to not ignore it because it's not in your profile, but to make sure that that question after your mind goes to the right person who can do something about it and help us, because one day you will all be seniors, hopefully. And I thank you all.
Thank you. Ms. Allison Lynch.
Feel free to share it as yours. Just want to let you know that it's rude if you guys are texting while people are talking. And it kind of looks like there's someone up here who's been texting the whole time, and this kind of happens a lot. So if you need to text, maybe excuse yourself. It happens like every week, it looks like you don't even want to be here. So I went to the housing authority meeting where the conversation was the rapid conversion. I am extremely familiar with this. I have a little bit of a background in housing, studying housing, and I am very familiar with affordable housing programs, et cetera. You guys need to know what this is. This is privatizing our public housing stock. This is transferring property over. The description of the program by the housing board, which you appoint, which is utterly patronage appointing. These are political insiders. Like, the description of the program was disgusting, it was wrong, and it was insulting to the seniors in the room. And just so you know that I'm keeping my eye on this, and I'm not like letting this, and there's a lot of us who are keeping an eye on this because there's a lot of shady stuff going on. A lot of potential for shade going on. Because it is a good program on paper, but if you have dodgy people running the program, then it's a problem. And you have dodgy people. So, I like your suggestion about going back to that updates from the housing authority, but keep in mind, you're only gonna get one side. I would recommend that you meet with some of the tenants. And I did want to make a comment to someone about the Park Avenue study stuff and pedestrians. We need a transportation committee because this isn't about trying to figure out how we can move people around vehicles. This is about how we can move vehicles around people. You gotta kind of flip the script on how you're approaching Park Avenue, Mr. Tagny. We need a transportation committee. There are other options. You asked what the other options were. No one's even talked about education, engineering, barely touched on. And then finally, thank you to Dina for every word that you said was amazing. And City Council President Aramo, I think it's time that you step down, not just as president, but I think you need to really reconsider whether you're actually doing your job.
Thank you.
Hughie Diamond, I think that you should step down, maybe not step off the council, you're new, you're learning, you're kind of in the shadow of Aramo there,
That's it.
but you need to consider stepping down.
Thank you, appreciate it. Time is up. Karen Blackburn. Oh. What's your name?
Hi, Karen McGinnis Blackburn,
Okay.
from Long Beach. I have a statement, and I welcome any comments. Attending these city council meetings this year has been like watching the movie Groundhog Day. Citizens ask the same questions of the council during good welfare and get vague and incomplete answers. Long Beach is a $100 million a year operation and needs a qualified, experienced, full-time city manager who is not part of the current administration, and a qualified, experienced, full-time deputy city manager or deputy city manager. Your blind trust in experienced staffers has led us to this 10-month period of discovery. That's admirable, but we're tired of it. Each city council member took an oath to represent all of the citizens of Long Beach and act in our collective best interest, not your career advancement or your campaign war chest. If you were concerned about the collective interest, residents would have heard about the activities and suggestions of the current Board of Ethics, or anything on best practices for local governance, or at least a new impartial ombudsman or a consultant to assist the temporary administration during this time. But I mean nothing, absolutely nothing proactive. All I hear is that we have to wait for the state audit to be done. I've heard city employees grouse during these meetings that it's the same old people who voice their opinion every meeting. I get it, I agree, it does get old. But then, I'm reminded that we live in a democracy and that it is the responsibility of each and every citizen to hold our officials and our government responsible. Enough is enough. I'm holding each of you directly responsible. John, Chuni, Anthony, Scott, and Anissa. I'm holding you responsible to hire a qualified new city manager as soon as possible. And I assure you, the residents will hold you responsible next November. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Jen.
Hi. Good evening, Karen McDonald, 74 Forester Street, Long Beach. I am a commissioner on the Housing Authority, and yes, I was put into the position by Mr. Jack Shannon, and I've been there almost 4 years, or maybe a little over 4 years, I'm not sure. Time goes by. Anyway, I'm just here to answer a couple of, to make a couple of factual statements about RAD, because obviously it's not your job to know about the program. I know that, I believe that Councilwoman Moore has been educated on the program by some of the people here, which is great. And, oh, okay. All right, I apologize. In any case, you know about it, and the rest of you should be informed. And I want to let you know that the Executive Director, Mike Cruz, and all of the board members would be very happy. We welcome it to sit down and discuss the program with you and let you know what it's about. The basics are that, yes, it is privatization, but it's all about the seniors being taken care of. As you admitted, and as Ms. Gandhi admitted, it's all up to the Housing Authority, which is run by the Federal Housing Authority. As far as being rushed, the program being rushed, that's absolutely not the case. We've had 3 meetings already with residents and tried to explain everything over and over again. The last meeting was very well attended, and we felt that we did get through to some of the seniors. Nothing's being rushed. We've explained over and over again that we have to put in an application to the Federal Housing Authority, an application for this program, just to hold our place against other housing authorities. We don't know if we're going to get the application accepted. We don't know if we're going to get the program. And we have right up until the day we sign any papers to change our mind. So yes, we are still researching it. We're asking questions. We are going to plan to have Housing Authority Federal, RAD representatives in the buildings to have more meetings. To say this is being rushed, it's absolutely not. I appreciate the seniors coming up. I know why. I know they're upset, and one of the reasons is they got a letter from Federal Housing, which was very upsetting. And we should have followed up as a board, and I've already asked twice for a letter to be sent out to the seniors saying that that letter represented the worst case scenario. If you have terrible buildings that need to be torn down, we might have to find other housing. That does not apply to Long Beach. It does not. Our buildings are in very good shape. They have said so. So again, and the fact is, I do not have a personal agenda. I am not slime, and I resent that. And one last thing, is, it's not a patronage job. I have meetings all the time. The first year, we had meetings 2 and 3 times a week. So I give my time, and I'm not getting paid for it. I'm a volunteer.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Okay.
You had mentioned an application. I didn't catch the beginning of it. The application has been submitted or is going to?
Yes, that's what we had to vote on last week. We had to get it in. We actually had a deadline. We had to get it in just to get into place.
And how long is the process from?
Oh, it could be 6 months. It could be, we don't know. We don't know how long the process is. It could be years before it happens.
So Commissioner Tagne's office is going to reach out to
Executive Director, yes.
Director, and we'll set up a meeting.
Absolutely. We will.
Exactly. Okay.
Thank
Just
you.
to follow up with Councilwoman Shannon's question, again, I look forward to having a meeting. We've done it in the past, and it was very successful when we had the meeting several years ago. But, just a question about the application. You said that the application has already been submitted to the federal government at this time?
We voted to put in the application. I don't know as of this minute if it's physically been turned in. I can't answer that question.
Absolutely. So what, in other words, you said that there were only 3 meetings before this application was sent.
3 or 4 meetings with the seniors explaining, but it's been discussed, since I first got involved, we discussed a program coming down the pipe, but not a lot of details. Okay.
Thank you.
Only have one meeting.
Maureen Verona. Good evening.
Good evening. Maureen Verona, East Atlantic Beach. And I just want to clarify that I'm okay standing up here even though I reside in East Atlantic Beach. Is that right?
Everyone is welcome to come, yes.
And speak at the
Yes.
Good, I'm glad that's cleared up. And just as an aside, as I begin my comments, please do not assume that because I am up here speaking, that Eddie couldn't or wouldn't have spoken for himself. He would have done so with probably much more passion and eloquence than I can muster, but it's time for you guys to hear from me. The issue I want to address is the harassment of Eddie Verona at the last city council meeting. First, he's heckled by one of the city commissioners and then grilled by a council member about his residence. It baffles me why you would treat a high school student so disrespectfully. In these past months, this issue has come up twice publicly, and I was warned privately that people were upset that Eddie Verona was speaking because he didn't live in the city of Buffalo, city of Buffalo. Here you have a young man who has the smarts, who spends his time researching the issues, and is prepared to address real issues that face the city. And his only motive is to make the city a better place. Yet you badger him, not about the ideas and issues he raises, but whether or not he's a resident of Long Beach. And that's true, even though I know at least the majority of you know exactly where Eddie lives. And it's not Long Beach. It's 7 blocks from the city line. Trust me, I know what it's like to have these upstart kids stand up and tell us how to fix problems that you all and I in my position deal with every day. But while these kids may not be as poised and as polished as we would like our speakers to be, they are the future. They are the ones who are going to solve the systemic problems we who are sitting at podiums like this face. They are the ones who are willing to put in the hard work, to look outside the box and to find solutions. I would think that you would welcome young people interested in government and municipal budget issues, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. I've noticed that not many young people speak at or even attend city council meetings. Maybe they just don't feel welcome enough to share their ideas. Just something to think about. I would ask only that you consider what I have said. You and I, we are the role models. So if you have to, paste a smile on your face. Do not roll your eyes. And please, no texting. We are the ones responsible to teach our children and young adults the skills they need to keep Long Beach the wonderful place it is. But that won't happen if they are treated dismissively and without respect. Thank you.
While you call someone else, I just want to say that, as a community college professor, I find Eddie's statement is refreshing. It's what I teach my students to do, to articulate their ideas and to speak with civility, as long as the individual is speaking with civility and engaging people. It's a part of what we teach, and I hope that you'll continue to do that as you continue to assert yourself within the society. And I hope that more young people will continue to get involved because, as you just said, they are the future. And I'm sure, I can speak for the other council members here, that we welcome everyone. We don't always have to agree, we can agree to disagree, but that's the whole purpose of community engagement, is to have people come and share. And so thank you for sharing your statement.
I just don't feel that you say that on behalf of the whole council, and I just don't believe that that's the case, or that's not what I seem to be, and I hope in the future that will be the case. Thank
Well,
you.
then I'll speak for myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Lloyd.
Can I go at the end?
It's your turn, sir. Come on.
My turn?
Yep. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Michael Lloyd, Long Beach, New York. I'm going to try something different tonight. I'm going to give handouts, ask you to read the questions. And if that's not comfortable enough, then I'll read the question, perhaps you could answer it. Let's start with the handout. The items highlighted in yellow are just the questions. If you could ask them, I just don't want to use all my 3 minutes in just questions. I mean, would you prefer that I ask the question and then wait for the answer, or, let me just, okay, here we go. Number one, did the Beach Park revenue exceed the budget of $4,325,000 and the LIRR beach charges of $605,000? Page 100 of the budget. The reason I mention it now is the beach season over. Question number two, is overtime under the fire department tracking in line with budget? Number three, the budget mentioned LB staff is driving down overtime, tracking beach park numbers, improve the productivity. Is this an accurate account of what we are seeing today? Number four is a question about Moody's. My question is, why would Moody's issue a negative outlook? Number five, on page 26 of the budget, it mentions under institutionalized best practices. Are these happening today? You can see items A, B, C, D. If you don't mind, if you could comment on it, that would be appreciated. The last question or comment is, since there are so many projects, would it be beneficial to hire a person with an engineering degree in the DPW in the upcoming future budget year? Last, any changes to this year's AOH parade? Hours, length of time, direction. Number two, discussions about fiscal stress. We have reached number one in the wrong direction. We are number one in the state fiscal stress. Lastly, I read the paper about zoning board and Sea Point Towers. I don't know if you can comment on it. It doesn't look favorable. Thank you.
Okay, in response to your questions, Ms. Lori, we are, at last look, we were over $4 million. I don't know if we achieved the 325, but we are over $4 million, and we're still tracking that. The Long Island Railroad charges, I believe, were around $500,000 at last check, but that takes about 2 months to reconcile throughout the end of the year, because we have to submit, what happens is they get a railroad pass that they exchange for a beach pass. Then we have to submit that railroad pass for reimbursement. And that just is a time process. But we are going to be very close to the numbers that were projected in the budget. The fire department, we broke it down to quarterly with a little seasonal bump, so it's not divided equally into quarters. And we are staying within the first quarter, which was July and August and September, which are pretty much our summer months. We are monitoring overtime very carefully. The council did to get in line to get the budget under 10%, did reduce overtime allotments, so I am watching that very carefully. We are on track with the season. Police overtime is up. We do track these park numbers very, very carefully, and police productivity is monitored very closely. We do monthly activity reports. We compare them to prior years. August had almost from 2012 when I took over to this year, comparing the two Augustus, we were down in 2012. Why would Moody's issue a negative outlook? Because we are depleting our fund balance at a very fast pace, and we are still bonding for separation dates. So they are very, very unhappy with that, and that's why we have the negative outlook. Until we do something about that. Institutionalized best practices. I don't know the monthly detailed variance report is, so I'd have to get back to you on that. Again, overtime was reduced. The fund balance policy is pretty much, I say no, we're broke. I say no, we're broke. That's pretty much our fund balance. As far as adopting new policy, we're waiting for the state controls report. I'm meeting with the auditors that came in and tomorrow, and we're waiting for that as well as the financial restructuring board, and we're hoping to get best practices and best policies from that. We do track all state and federal grants. Again, Commissioner Moreno has requested an engineer because we have so many projects, and that same answer. The budget. He is an engineer. I don't have those other comments that you.
Commissioner, Acting City Manager, that's more than I would expect it to be answered tonight, given the fact that we have two roles. I just think that, in a very simple statement, thank you for allowing me, I know I probably over my time.
19 seconds.
Okay, thank you. To reiterate what
Mr. Lloyd, one other thing. I didn't even have to pretty important part. We should exceed these numbers because we will be selling these passes in May. Season passes we did almost $1 million in the final month. So we should eclipse these numbers substantially.
Okay, because I heard that the lease revenue per, we'll go whatever is that, and unsubstantiated that it was down. That's why I bring it up. Well, any elaboration on the controllers meeting that you had mentioned? I know my time is up. Thank you.
Eileen Heschel.
Eileen Heschel, Long Beach. You have some very good speakers up here tonight, a lot of good questions. I am also reading a statement about the lack of a city manager and the fiscal crisis that we're in. Our previous city manager, Jack Schneerman, was campaigning for a county job since early summer, so it's been well over a year since we have had a permanent city manager. By the way, Jack Schneerman got us into this fiscal mess, and now he's the comptroller for Nassau County. Let's see how he does there. He lied to us at nearly every meeting, saying how he pulled us out of the hole left by the last administration. Meantime, he continued to bond and borrow for even the most basic city requirements. Our city council members did nothing to stop him. We got a new boardwalk after Sandy, but there are people who are still not home. New York Rising is asking for their money back. Taxes are rising. Our streets are deplorable. Our water tower is over 100 years old. Our infrastructure is falling apart, and we have no city manager to lead us. I should say permanent city manager. The 5 members of our city council seem unable to work together. Several of them had seemed stuck on our corporation council to take the job of city manager, but he was a man unqualified to be city manager in many ways. There have been many financial and personnel decisions made over time that have been bad for the city. We have employees who hold 2 or 3 titles. There's duplication of jobs. There are too many supervisors and superintendents with large salaries. There are too many cars given to employees who don't need them for city responsibilities. Who is negotiating contracts on behalf of the taxpayer? Who is minding the store? We have several multi-million-dollar lawsuits pending, and our interim city manager is currently being sued for millions more. Recently, millions of dollars were given as separation payments to people who still work here. They did not separate but got big payouts. Raises have been given and new positions opened while we are drowning in debt. We have asked for an audit of those payouts, and the person in charge of that is Schneerman's close friend, Tom DiNapoli, who should recuse himself. Being without a full-time comptroller is reckless when we have all these money problems. The city manager, not the city council, hires the comptroller, so we can't get one until we have a full-time city manager. You can't make this stuff up. We were recently rated the #1 New York municipality in fiscal stress. Our Moody's rating is down, way down. Eddie Eaton, a former successful city manager, was willing to step in, but the council could not even agree on that. We are a city in trouble, and our city council members don't seem to know what to do about it. Both Dina and Karen mentioned a few things to try. Please try them.
Thank you. Ms. Barbara. Hi, good evening.
Hi. This is not the first time. I was trying to figure out how to sing it. Mr. Ben will be interested. So I'm Barbara Bourne. I live at 35 East Broadway in Long Beach. And I'm very fortunate to be in Long Beach senior housing. I like that you call the section the good and welfare segment, and I'm hoping that's what I'm here to speak about. So my comments are about RAD, this rental assistance demonstration program. I'm just going to emphasize one aspect of it. My understanding is it will cover all public housing in Long Beach. So it will cover the 4 senior buildings, in which I'm, again, grateful to be in one, and it covers Channel Park. And my understanding, again, I keep on saying my understanding because I have gone to some of these meetings, and sometimes I think I'm clear on something, and then 10 more questions are raised. So there are a lot of meetings, but I'm not quite sure how much clarity is happening. And I think that's partially because it is a revenue program. It just, Congress authorized it in 2012, so it's always still understanding. My understanding is that the bank that buys into this will have primary overseeing of the program and allow to say that what happens and what doesn't happen. My understanding also is that once we are RAD, we're always RAD. So once RAD, always RAD. So this is a permanent program. So it's not like, well, let's give it a try. Oh, well, it's not the best thing for us, and then after 2 years. So anyway, it's a big jump, and I'd like us to make that move with great confidence. I'm hoping that since Long Beach Housing feels so positively about it, that's really, what it will be for us. But again, this whole process has raised a series of questions. So my main concern that I'm going to bring forward now, in addition to the fact that this will be a permanent, again, if I've got this right, once RAD, always RAD, that the 4 buildings that are considered senior housing buildings, whether we stay in RAD or not, that they be officially and formally designated as senior buildings. I thought that they were, but now again, I've been led to believe that it's understood, but it's not necessarily a formal official declaration, so that it's possible things could change going into a RAD program. Maybe as the senior moves out, someone else can move in. I'm not sure, but I understand and appreciate it's not the city council's job. It's Long Beach senior housing, but we live here in Long Beach and we love Long Beach and we need a little help. And I know that the housing program is tried, and I think it's a pretty big deal. I'd just like to throw in 2 cents on the traffic. I just coming here, both at National Park and then Edwardson Park. I guess I'm always watching everybody run across, you know, they get across to the middle, it's like, am I gonna make it to the other side? It's so lot of people running. So I don't know where that falls into consideration, but maybe we have less running.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Roy.
Roy Lester, Long Beach, New York. Couple of questions, and nobody's mentioned it today. Where are we with the city manager search?
It's ongoing.
Do you have any idea when we will have city manager?
I do not.
No idea.
Continue.
You have no idea, does anyone have any idea? No, no answer.
Okay.
I noticed in the city manager's
I
report,
say that there's been a fair amount of activity going on in the last few weeks related to this, so there's progress being made.
but John, no offense, isn't that what you said like 4 months ago? The same thing?
I don't remember if I did, but I'm just telling you that there's a fair amount of activity going on right now.
Okay, and if you guys like, not aimed at you, John, but if you look, that's basically what we've been saying now for months. A lot of activity, making progress, and we still have city manager.
Well, I want to clarify something. First of all, not only has there been quite a bit of activity in terms of continuing to search for a city manager, but I think you're misstating that we don't have a city manager. We have an acting city manager who's managed the city up until this point. He was unanimously appointed when we no longer had our city manager, when he was elected to another office. He's run the city. We all would like a permanent city manager, but I think it's a little disingenuous for you to repeatedly say we don't have a city manager. We have an acting city manager who just a second ago, or maybe 5 minutes ago, answered a slew of questions regarding specific details about the budget. And I think if we're going to engage in this discussion, we should probably make it clear what we're saying and be a little more honest.
You're completely right. We do have a city manager. I'm not the permanent city manager. No offenses to that, but we do have a city manager. But part of the problem, and you had to see this tonight, over the past week, we've lost a major lawsuit against the Hagermans. Well, the Hagermans against us. But now it looks like we're going to have 2 20-story buildings in this town. We also got voted or put in on the comptroller's list as the worst run municipality in the state of New York, or under the highest financial stress. I think financial stress, worst run, is necessarily the same thing, but to me it sounds like it. And what was the city manager's report about? It was about the Army Corps, Irish Day, the Fall Festival, and the city calendar pictures. The people in the city want to know about the major things. I mean, it's nice to know about city calendar pictures, but we're talking about lawsuits. We're talking about lawsuits that could bankrupt this city. And we're being told about Irish Day and Fall Festival. Now, a permanent city manager would be addressing these things, first of all. Because he realized, the permanent city manager would realize the importance of these things to the citizens. Now, another thing I did want to question was, you said that we're still finalizing the beach revenue. The beach ended 30 days ago. Why is the revenue that tough to track?
He was talking about the Long Island Railroad revenue.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. That was different revenue.
Continue.
I'm waiting for the answer. Does anyone know? I mean, we're talking millions of dollars. Well, 30 days, it shouldn't take that long. I can understand the Long Island revenue. Long Island Railroad revenue, but our revenue should not take that long. And finally, I have to say, the way Mr. Barone was treated last week was despicable. And I think you owe, not necessarily you guys, because you guys didn't do it, and the person that did it isn't here now. But I think he's owed an apology, because that's not the right way to talk to somebody who comes up to speak. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Lawson. Mr. Chuckman?
Correctly, a fire hydrant. Oh, I'm going to be like Mike tonight and hand out handouts. Thank you. I'll ask Mike. Ms. Preston, Long Beach, New York. I have 3 questions or 3 points. One, I hope that everyone got their FEMA alert today. If not, please, like the Long Beach Community Organization, actually disaster page, and we will tell you how to sign up. Putting on another pad. I sent an email and I haven't heard back from anyone regarding Consumer Protection Committee. I'll continue my ponder that one. I gave the sheet because I'm looking at the position that was posted in-house, and it's not even in our organizational chart. You know what I'm talking about? The direction. If you need to start, I'll pull it up. The Director of Operations for the City of Long Beach. As I read this, it seems to be the city manager position. And it's not even on our organizational chart. The residents are actually at the top. Is this position in the budget? What is the salary? And will this hire replace the acting city manager? And is this kind of redundant, yes or no? Your turn.
The money is, the line is in the budget to answer that question. The other questions, I'm not sure I can answer.
But this position's not in our charter, it's not in the organizational chart.
It doesn't exist at this time. We haven't even given the test yet.
So this is a brand new, it's never existed before, no one's ever held this position, we didn't get rid of this. In the past, we saved money.
Why it's not the organization chart, I don't know. But it was in the
Well, and regarding the Consumer Protection Committee,
Consumer protection, services are provided by Nassau County Department of Consumer Affairs.
no, not within the city charter that we have. I'm reading that
finding an excellent novel to read at night. Because why would the Nassau County Consumer Affairs be in our city charter?
I don't know.
Maybe I agreed it while I was reading the city charter. All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Bye, I'm on my way home.
That's it this evening. Thank everyone. Please get home safe.